Hi, my name is Drumel. I'm part of the CodeByCooking development team, and I'm going to show you a tutorial on how to use various components of our application. So right now, this is the view you see when you start the application. You're at the entrance of the kitchen, and you can pretty much view the entire kitchen from here. I'm showing this tutorial using a simulator, but when you go to the actual iCave, you will first wear your 3D glasses with the tracking device. You will use the gamepad or the hand controller, and you will step into the iCave. So you will see 5 screens in a hexagonal shape, and you can also move around your head and hands, and the tracking system will track your movements. So basically you can move using the 2 analog sticks on your gamepad, or you can move your own body around. And you can see this green stick over here. This is the wand. The green one is the pointing wand, and you can use the buttons on your gamepad to switch between the two wands we're using here, the green pointing wand and the blue grabbing wand. You'll use the A button to switch between the wands, and you'll use the X button to activate the wand. We're now facing the platform. You can see the code menu, which is going to display all the functions that you carry out. And if you look towards the left, you'll see the shelf where you have all the items that you want to use for cooking. So firstly, I'm going to start by showing you how to use the blender. So you have the blender, you have number of fruits that you can use to put in the blender, and you have a certain number of glasses you can use to fill the juice. First, we're gonna switch to the blue wand, which is the grabbing wand. This one we'll use to grab the objects. The green one is used only to start the blending or chopping process. So I'm gonna use the wand, I'm gonna grab the item, I'm gonna pick it up and drop it on the platform. And as you can see, the code menu has updated with the function blend. So it will basically display the functions that you carry out. It's more like you calling the function. And you can move around the blender wherever you want. You can, if you pick it up from the platform, as you see over here, the function will disappear when it stops colliding. And you place it back, it appears again. So now we'll use the wand and pick up some fruits. We can pick up a banana, we can drop it in the blender, and as you can see, the parameter of the function on the code menu, it updates with the fruit item you've placed in it. This is basically passing parameters to the function you're using. We can also pass multiple parameters, so we can go ahead and grab another fruit, and when you drop it in, the display is going to update. Now what I want to do is I want to grab maybe a couple of glasses so that I can demonstrate the use of loops. Basically, when we start the blending process, when the blender fills up, we can then, depending on the number of glasses that are placed next to it on the platform, a loop will be executed, and on every iteration, one glass will be filled by the blender. So right now we're going to use the green one to start the blending process. We point it to the blender and we hit the one button. As you can see, the blending process is carried out. The juice appears in the blender, it replaces the fruits, and a loop appears, which it's a for loop that will go from 1 to the number of glasses that are on the platform, and each time it will fill the glass with the glass index and the juice, which is the item. Some juice has been emptied from the blender and has been filled in the glass. So some more juice has been emptied, it fills the glass up, and as you can see, it updates the index on the display as well. Sort of explains how loops work. And I'm gonna proceed by showing you how to use the chopping board. So again, we'll use the grabbing one to grab the chopping board, place it on the shelf, or sorry, on the platform, and as you can see, the code menu has updated with the function chop. I can put any food item on it, so I'm going to grab the chicken, and once I drop it on the chopping board, the code menu will update with chicken, the food item that is passed into the function chop. So again, you're basically passing a parameter to the function, and if you want to put another item, you can take out the chicken. As you can see, the code menu, it no longer shows the food item. You can use any other food item, such as maybe a potato, or you can use cheese or anything else you want to chop. Right now, we'll just see how to chop the chicken. So I'll place it back on the chopping board, and I'll use the green one to start the chopping process. You point it to the chicken or the chopping board, press the on button, and here you see it has been chopped into the chicken pieces. And you can also continue using the chopping board for other processes, or for other items. As you can see, the chicken no longer appears in the function, so you can pass other parameters without having to chop the chicken again. I'll now show you how to use the stove objects, which is the pan and the boiling pot. So on the pan, we can use it to fry eggs, we can use it for frying the chicken, we can use it for cheese. But right now I'm just going to show you how to fry an egg. So pick up the pan using the grabbing one, place it on the stove, and as you saw earlier, we're looking at the code menu on the left. So it updates with the function fry, and in this case it just asks you to specify the object to cook. So if you want to cook the egg, it'll replace that text with the egg. So we'll grab the egg, and once we drop it on the pan, the egg is going to show up, and as you can see, it appears on the as a parameter to the function. In this case, we're going to use a button to start the cooking process, because we don't want the user to touch the stove because it's too hot. So we'll use the pointing one, point at the button highlights, and once you click on it, as you can see, the egg has been fried. It's from a yellowish color, it becomes more white, and that's basically the output of your function. We'll demonstrate the same using boiling pot. We can use it to boil a tomato or eggplant. In this case, I'll use it to just boil a tomato. Once you drop the tomato inside, it falls into the water, and tomato appears as a parameter to the function boil. And once again, we'll use the pointing one, start the process, and it basically boils into soup. So I've demonstrated how to use each of the cooking tools that we've implemented in this application. So there's just 4 of them: the blender, the chopping board, the frying pan, and the boiling pot. For each of them, I've shown you how to use or cook one item, but you can use as many items as you wish. Just keep in mind that you cannot cook any item using any tool. So for example, you cannot put in fruits inside your frying pan. You can drop them in your frying pan, but the function is not going to activate. The parameter is not going to be passed. And that's it for this tutorial.